Hi brothers and sisters, welcome to Issues. Tonight's discussion is on behaviour, and it might be something different to what you think NATSARIM behaviour is. So here we go. We have some lovely young people here, and they're going to give us, Victoria included, they're going to give us their version of what they believe behaviour is. Now, you know, each session we've done, we've come out with a system. There's a system for evil spirits, there's a system to bring up your children, there's a system for... what's the other one?
Money.
Money. And tonight we're going to get the system for behaviour. Okay, here we go. Who's going first?
Me.
Okay, over to Mark.
I am coming into Hebrews. I thought just today Yahusha started talking to me about the context, who Paul was really talking to, and why he spoke the way he did. So I just wrote a little short thing here I wanted to read, just going into Hebrews. It's like a little bit of a backstory thing. I'll just read it. The book of Hebrews is all about the covenant, and mainly the priesthood of that covenant through the ages. Great detail is given of how the covenant came to be and the priesthood who served through it. But, as with many things in Scripture, they were merely a shadow of what or who was about to come. And that, of course, is Yahusha. He stepped onto the scene and turned everyone's world upside down because of his loving kindness, which is a behaviour. And this behaviour of his cut through all the religious regulations of that time. So we all know the story. He became our new high priest, the mediator between mankind and our deliverance. And he renewed a covenant in his own blood, not the blood of bulls, hereby injecting this covenant with power and fulfilment. So as we approach Hebrews 12, prior to this, there is a pattern laid out in the form of a tabernacle, which was a shadow of how mankind is to approach the Creator. And of course there is an order to everything Yahusha does, and the tabernacle, or true worship, found its fulfillment in Yahusha also. Because Yahusha now calls on correct behaviour and obedience as our worship. So this then leads us into an explanation of all the people of old who walked by belief and gained witnesses in the heavenlies because of their behaviour. And it speaks of, this is in Hebrews 11, just before it, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moshe, Joshua, talks of all of these guys. They heard Yahusha's voice and they followed him. They were obedient, some of them unto death. And right at the end of that chapter it says, but they still did not receive the promises. They were not made perfect apart from us. So they had this cloud of witnesses around them, but they still didn't receive the promise that we are receiving now, which is, of course, Yahusha's return and us becoming perfect. Yahusha has allowed us to be a part of this restoration. So it takes us right, Yahusha takes us right through in Hebrews, he's just explaining the whole purpose of the covenant and the priesthood and all the people who were part of it. And so by the time we get to Hebrews 12, he's now saying to us, look, you guys are that new generation. You guys are those people in the covenant. You are now the priesthood, because he's the high priest. So we are now the priesthood. And I've written here, a new priesthood generation is rising up, and they have direct access to the throne of Yahusha. So who are they supposed to follow? How are they supposed to behave? And how do they get trained to achieve this? And what is the final outcome? Because as with all the other people in the scriptures, there is also a cloud of witnesses around us as well. So I wrote down that a priesthood serves others. That's the whole purpose of a priesthood all through scripture. Their whole purpose was to serve the nations. So if we want to see the first resurrection, then we need to be part of this special priesthood. But we need to be trained first. So I just looked at Hebrews from the perspective of why is he talking to us like this? and just wanted to get an understanding of the scriptures around this chapter as well. Why is he just coming straight in on us and our behaviour? Well, prior to this, he's talking about the covenant. He's talking about the priesthood, and that's what all the Hebrews is about, the priesthood. And they're all gone now, and we have to step up. We are the priesthood. It's our duty to do this. So then he comes into Hebrews 12 and says, I'm going to train you. And then he goes into how he's going to train us. And that's really where I left off my notes.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I figured you'll all have stuff to say about the flogging, and then I can come in on my experience with that later.
I've got a scripture that I reckon that goes with what Mark was talking about, and it's a bit, hi everyone. So Yahusha was talking about his body, and he's talking about the blood. Mark was talking about the covenant, his blood.
Yeah.
And so when Yahusha was saying, talking about his blood and his body, it was too hard for them. Yeah, they couldn't receive it, and that was the covenant. And so many of the disciples were just left, and there's only a couple stayed. And so this is what I feel that with the Hebrews 12, the behaviour, because we believe in who we are, and that we're in this relationship. We didn't, when we heard his word and his calling, we didn't flee. Yeah, and so that he's in us, and so we have this relationship with him, and he's working in us. Yeah, and we're part of his covenant. And like Mark was saying, he's rising up a new priesthood.
Yeah.
Like
What's that called? What's the new priesthood?
What did you say it was, Amy?
You're so naughty.
NATSARIM.
Yeah, NATSARIM. Thanks, Amy.
No,
That's not. You're wrong, Mark. You're wrong. I killed two birds with one stone.
You read it out. There's two priesthoods. How did he feel about the priesthood of Louis?
Yeah, he didn't have any power. It was just a shadow.
That's what you read, didn't you?
Yeah.
And he didn't want that anyway.
No.
But they wanted it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he went along with it. So what was the other priesthood?
Melchizedek.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the one we're in. Melchizedek. It's still different. What about Shabbath? Instead of Sabbath, Shabbath.
Yes.
Great, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
interesting. You've got to change your mind again in this new interpretation of Blue White.
Come on, Ellie, you've got to sit next to Jason. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Get a more comfortable chair. Get one of them.
Oh, she's up high there.
Oh, there you go.
If you like it up high. So who's next?
I'll go next.
All.
To realise where your thoughts are coming from and to choose whether it's Torah or not, whether that's Torah or not. And I found, that's been a bit of a stickle in my walk with Yahusha. And in Hebrews 12 it talks about here, we too then having so great a cloud of witnesses all around us. And we've got so many people that are there to watch us, and a cloud of witnesses to see our behaviour, to see how we are really. Let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily entangles us. And this laying aside every weight is something that's been, I've had a heavy burden and I've been
That's not what
holding.
you said to me.
What?
So there you go, Chris. You can lay aside all the weight, the heavy weight.
Oh, well, that was talking to you, but I'm talking about me. I said you can get rid of your weight easily.
Yeah,
Go
look.
for it. Lay aside every weight. That was for you to bring up.
Yeah.
And
it
the
is.
sin which so easily entangles us. So this weight is a heaviness. Everything that you hold on to, Yahusha's talking to us about getting rid of it. Let us run with endurance the race set before us. And I've gotten to a point where I give up. I run a little way and I'm really excited, and then I give up because I find that I just can't stand I just find it really difficult to constantly keep going and to try and it don't seem to be getting anywhere. So the whole problem being, because I'm NATSARIM, I'm meant to have a certain behaviour, and I haven't had that behaviour. I haven't had the right behaviour, and therefore I've been trying to cover up and duck around and cover up my behaviour by twisting around and twisting the truth and not saying the truth and covering up and just, you know, trying to slide around and be good all the time, which is impossible if you're not following Torah, if you're not being honest with yourself. Yahusha wants us to confess our sin one to another. Well, that's something I've always wanted to be a good person, and how can I be good if I'm not going to face the sin that's been entangled and things I've done?
When it all boils down,
yeah,
what's been happening to you?
I've been listening to different.
What have you been? What's something's like that? It's
Stuck.
yes.
Stuck up. Sticky.
Yeah.
I've been a sticky beak.
Because you want to listen.
Oh yeah. That's it. I've just wanted to be into everything and find out what everyone's doing, and yeah. So not listening to those wrong things is something I'm really trying to choose, whether it's Torah or not. So I've got to a point where, yeah, I want to really get rid of all the entanglement. Looking to the princely leader, looking to Yahusha. Now, I have had such a journey, being married with Chris, who's a really exciting guy, but I've been devastated because he's so honest and so real and so true, and he just tells you everything's straightforward. And I've just been furious and angry at my husband for so long, and I haven't understood why I've been copping such flack, and I've been blaming him all the time for being horrible to me. But Yahusha is the one that's been
Horrible to you.
horrible to me because I've been not following Torah. I haven't been following the right way. So my aggression, my anger and my hatred towards my husband, Yahusha has been flogging me. So he's wanting me to endure and to get rid of that. He says in here, he's the perfecter of our belief. I've been looking and blaming Chris for hurting me and being nasty to me and making me feel gross and hideous and accusing him of everything I've been doing to him. Where it's Yahusha, because I haven't been following Torah, he has been angry at me, and I have hated his anger at me, and I've tried everything to stop Yahusha from being angry at me because I wanted to be a good girl.
Suffering. The lights just came on next door and I grabbed your arm.
That's the Ruach.
Who for the joy that was set before him, Yahusha endured the stake, having despised the shame. Well, I wouldn't go through the shame. I wouldn't be ashamed and despise the shame. I would take the shame on and be embarrassed and be overwhelmed and not want to be, want my fabulous reputation to be ruined because I am an NATSARIM or something, different, or I belong to this weird cult and everyone will look down on you. I mean, these are all the pathetic thoughts that have been in my head over the years, and I've let in and I've been acting out towards everyone, and it's just really, really sad because Yahusha is constantly there all the time, loving, patient, and not ever giving up on me. I thought that he'd thrown me away a long time ago because I just wouldn't make it and wouldn't get there and wouldn't be a good example. But again, he's so patient and loving. So, having despised the shame, Yahusha sat down at the right hand of the throne of Yahuwah. And for consider him who endured such opposition for sinners against himself, lest you become weary and faint in your own lives, You have not resisted to blood. We've only had hurt and pain inside, and we've had all sorts of situations that Yahusha's put me in, of disappointment and things not working and frustration, but I haven't shed any blood. I haven't suffered like that, like Yahusha did. Have you not forgotten the appeal which speaks to you as to sons? My son, do not despise the discipline of Yahusha, nor faint when you are reproved by him. I've constantly despised the discipline. I've hated the discipline. I've just turned and just constantly been so angry. Have you been like that, Mark? And I've blamed Chris for it. I've blamed anyone around, everyone, the whole world, but not looked at myself and realised I've even thought it was evil spirits attacking me. But
I think it's the same for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah. So that was what Hebrews 12. That's what I got.
Keep going. It's good what you're saying. It's great.
It says, do not faint when you are reproved by him, and you feel like you want to crawl under the floor and disappear, but we're not to faint. For whom Yahusha loves, he disciplines. And I love that verse. Because I know that Yahusha still loves me.
He loves me.
He loves me, and flogs every son whom he receives. If you endure discipline, Yahuwah is treating you as sons and daughters. For what son is there whom a father does not discipline? But if you are without discipline, of which all have become sharers, you are illegitimate and not sons. So wouldn't it be just dreadful if Yahusha left us to our own devices and didn't stay with us and care and couldn't be bothered? It's like a father who just runs off and doesn't want to care, and it would be so sad. But he's with us, and he's just so personal. I just didn't realise how personal Yahusha wanted to be with me. I wouldn't let him in and be that personal about every little detail in my life. And I didn't want anyone to be that personal, because I wanted to have my things for myself, and I wanted to be something, I don't know.
She feels wonderful when I let her go shopping by herself, and she can hop in her car and put her foot down and she's off. Into it.
Oh, wow. Moreover, we indeed had fathers of our flesh disciplining us, and we paid them respect. Shall we not? So that's saying, guys, disciplining your kids is wonderful, and the kids will respect you for it, isn't it? It's not what the world's telling us. Shall we not much rather be subject to the Father of Ruach and live? For they indeed disciplined us for a few yeomen as seemed best to them, but he does it for our profit, so that we might share his apartness. And that's the reason he does it, for our profit, so that we will share in his apartness. And I thought, what's his apartness? That's an amazing place to go. That's where I want to get to, his apartness, to be set apart from all the entanglements and things of the world that we've been brought up with. So it's just so incredible how far he wants to go with us. And indeed, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but grievous. It hurts. It just is intense. You go through times when you're going through that, and you just feel like you can't come up for it. You need to come up for air. You can't stand it. I've gone through things like that where I wanted to jump. Even last week, I wanted to jump out of the car and kill myself. It was just so intense what I was going through, and
It's on the way home from here.
and I was just so angry and furious, and it was Yahusha telling me and showing me, and I'd do anything to distract Chris from saying things or going on, put on the tears, and he said, what are you carrying on for? You're just being sorry for yourself. What are you crying for? You're not being hurt, and any other trick in
What was it about? You just couldn't get it together to say what you wanted.
Yeah, I couldn't be real. I just felt so unreal. I was just not real on the DVDs and being
Well,
just
she
being
is
open and
now.
honest.
Yeah.
And it's taken me, 3 videos to get to the point where I can speak without being feeling intimidated by this crowd of witnesses whom I love, and you're my family, and I should feel totally relaxed with, which I do now. And it's just I've just been so frustrated I couldn't break through, but Yahusha's really persevered with me. And yeah, so guys, that's just what Hebrews 12 has spoken to me about, and I just think it's so wonderful. Yeah, I just
To
think-
verse 11.
And indeed, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but grievous. But afterwards, it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. So, I want to get to that peaceable fruit of righteousness, and Yahusha's training me, and I want to lend myself before I wouldn't, because I wanted to be too good without going through it. I just wanted to make it without going through all that, and thought, it's not fair. How can Chris get out so easily and I have to go through all this? It's not fair, really, is it?
Yeah, that's right.
But Yahusha is so
Your
fair.
choice.
It's all in the choices.
Your choice.
Thank you.
I want to say, trained by it, in that verse 11. It's in big, it's
Block.
done in black,
Block letters.
block letters. And I don't know if the other scriptures, but I think since we went and saw Lou, it's really affected him, Brother Lou. And I think he put that there.
And flogs.
And flogs. Oh. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Who's next?
I'll go next.
Okay. Here's
Actually-
Auntie Amy, everybody.
Yeah. That was really good, Victoria.
Oh,
It was so real and
Oh,
genuine, and
Yes.
you.
I kind of wish I went before you now, not after you.
Sorry.
Well, you can be real too,
We
darling.
wanted to say hello to Nancy, didn't we?
Oh yeah, hi Nancy, how you going? Not Mary, Nancy. Yeah.
Thank you.
We're calling you Mary Nancy. Very Mary
That was my
Nancy.
mother's name, Mary Nancy.
Oh really?
Yeah. Thank you for your email. It was
Yeah,
fabulous.
lovely.
Mary
Very
Nancy, Nancy, Nancy.
I made some notes on. I read through Hebrews 12 and made some notes of what affected me through that chapter and on behaviour and things. So I'll just sort of read out what I wrote. Yeah, that's a leader. I won't read through all the or like the scripture.
You have to go,
Victoria.
Daddy.
Yes,
Yes, Mark, get your daughter.
Go on, Amy.
Did you see Mark jump then, folks? He's a good daddy.
Some points that I got was that we need to be good examples to everyone around us, like Victoria was saying, the crowd of witnesses thing. I guess I've never really been thinking about everyone watching us all the time, so we have to be a good example to people around us in our behaviour, and even at home with the kids and things. I haven't been doing that, and in everything that we do, because there's always someone watching us. So I guess I haven't really taken that very seriously and thought about that, but people are like watching what we do, and
But isn't it a hard thing to take it serious?
it is. Yeah.
It's a hard thing
Yeah.
to fully believe
Yeah.
this is going on.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Very hard.
yeah, I guess when we come and do the shows and things, we all dress up and put on our nice behaviours and everything for the show. And this is basically saying there's always people watching us, and we should always be doing it, behaving the right way, like we do here. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
I don't know.
He said I'm like that all the time.
What did you say? Oh, right.
Yeah.
So that hit me a lot because I haven't been like that and I haven't been really watching that. And in the house we're living at the moment, there is a house right behind us and they're watching us all the time. Every time I go out there and they're on their balcony and I'm putting rubbish in the bin and my
That's
daggy
nice.
clothes and things. Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's so nice when everyone's on holidays, isn't it?
They're back now. But yeah,
It's very high, that house, though.
Yeah, it's
And they can't help but look down.
Oh yeah. So, but just that made me think. Yeah, have I been behaving properly to be a good witness to people? Like to sort of show that like people don't take you seriously unless you're behaving properly. So
That's right.
So that point got me. Well, the next point was to look to Yahusha as our example. So sort of like we've got to be an example for other people around us, but he's our example of what he did, what he went through. Like it talks about in Hebrews 12, where it's talking about how he endured the stake and was shamed and all the things that happened to Yahusha, and so we've got to use him as our example of how he behaved through all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have gotten furious. He could have gotten out of that. He didn't have to go through that. He could have gotten angry at them and judged them and everything, and he didn't. So I guess that he's our example for how to behave, and we've and never stop giving our best and doing everything in joy. So that's I can't remember which verse it was that I got that from, but we should always be trying our best at everything. Oh, I think it was a point where it said not to become weary and faint in your lives, because I actually read this today at the end of the day and I was exhausted because I'd been running around all day cleaning up after the kids and cooking and doing this, and I was frustrated with the kids that they wouldn't just keep everything tidy and stop making a mess and stop doing this, and then I read that and that really hit me, like that we shouldn't become weary and faint in our lives, because we look at Yahusha and what he went through, and he didn't become weary and faint and complain that everything was so hard, and so really I've got it easy.
Can I say something there?
Yes.
When you feel that tired, you should lay down and rest if you can,
Okay.
or sit down.
Yeah.
It's quite all right.
Okay.
He meant weary and faint. When someone faints,
Yeah.
they fall on the ground, don't they?
Yeah.
They just can't. They faint.
Yeah.
They lose consciousness. That's what it's talking about, losing the consciousness.
Yeah.
If you're weary physically, well, rest.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Don't push yourself too much.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's very important that you understand that, that's what the fainting is.
Yeah.
Losing consciousness of his presence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
So I don't want you to push yourself where it's
No.
not healthy, it's not
No,
good.
no. But I mean, I guess I was saying as well, like I became cranky and frustrated at the kids.
That's like losing consciousness.
Yeah, instead of like
Every
taking,
time
like,
you
well,
get
sitting
angry-
down, having a break, taking a breath, and then going, okay, let's change, let's do this differently, or let's whatever.
Every time you get angry, you're losing
Losing
consciousness.
consciousness. Yeah.
Whoa.
That's
There
true.
you go.
Yeah.
That's true.
You've lost it.
Yeah.
You get angry,
Yeah.
you've lost it. You've lost your consciousness.
Yeah.
Because Yahusha doesn't behave like that,
No.
does he?
No.
Wow.
So who's got you?
That's clever.
Yes. Satan. Evil spirits.
Do you like that? Well, you can keep that and use it.
So so that's what I felt today when I was reading that this afternoon. That I should always be giving my best in my behaviour to my family, and not just for other people, and doing it in joy, because I haven't been doing that. I've been complaining around the house, complaining that the kids wouldn't do this or they wouldn't do that, or everything, and so I need to be doing it in joy. It said somewhere there to be happy, and I can't remember. But like when we're disciplined and things, I don't remember which part now. I'm not going to spend too much time looking for it, but doing it in joy and not becoming, losing consciousness. So, also that we should be very thankful that he loves us enough to discipline us. That's what Victoria was saying. Instead of complaining about the discipline, we should be thankful. And it says in the scripture, like, in Hebrews 12, like when you're in it, it's horrible and it feels awful, but we should be thankful that he's doing that because he's doing it for us, not for his benefit. And I guess I think about it when I discipline the kids. I don't enjoy disciplining them. I hate it. I'm doing it for their benefit so they can learn the right behaviour, and he's doing the exact same thing for us. So we should be thankful to him for caring about us enough to do it, for loving us enough to do it. Because I mean, you can get caught up in moments. You look at other people and go, "How come they aren't going through this?" But then you can, like people who don't believe him, don't have that relationship with him, and then I can stop and go, well, because he obviously doesn't love them as much as he loves me. So trying to remember to be thankful every time he disciplines me and flogs me, and instead of complaining about it, and being thankful that he wants me to change my behaviour instead of just letting me go on being stupid. And then my next point was just what I said. He's disciplining us for our benefit, not his, so that we can become set apart. So we can't actually become set apart without going through his discipline and being trained by him, which is what they were talking about. Victoria and Chris were talking about there. We have to go through the discipline if we actually want to come out the other end and be set apart. He's training us, and if we resist his discipline and refuse to change, then we become useless to him. And so if we keep refusing his discipline and not wanting to change anything, then he will then we are of no use to him. He can't use us if we keep going on and out behaving the way we want to behave. And so eventually, I guess, if you just never want to change and never give in to him, you're not going to be set apart. He's going to kick you out. So it's important to change your behaviour and to listen to him and to people who are talking through him, like telling you things that hit you. I don't know what I'm saying now. The next point is we should live peaceful lives, not causing drama. It was somewhere in there that went on to say and indeed no discipline seems pleasant at the time but grievous, but afterwards it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. So when we're being trained by him, the camera just stopped again. We should be living peaceful lives, like not causing drama and pain, like being... Oh no, here, this part. Pursue peace with all and pursue apartness without which no one shall see the master. So he's saying we should always be pursuing peace and not drama and chaos. And don't let bitterness enter into our lives. It says, see to it that no one falls short of the favour of Yahuwah, that no root of bitterness springing up causes trouble. So that's the same sort of thing, not causing trouble and having bitterness inside us, because we can't, change and become set apart if we continue to hold on to everything and continue to be bitter forever. And then just my last point is, if we don't endure Yahuwah's discipline and we hold on to bitternesses, then we will miss out on joining him in the heavenly Yerushalayim, which it says in verse 22. It talks about, but you have drawn near to Mount Zion and to the city of the living Yahuwah, to the heavenly Yerushalayim. And it goes on to talk about, the new Yerushalayim. And that if we're not... So I took it because that whole chapter is talking about being trained and being flogged and disciplined, and that we're supposed to change and how we're supposed to behave, that if we don't behave the right way, if we don't change, if we don't go through it, then we miss out in the end. We don't get to go to the new Jerusalem. So it's important. It's very important.
That's wonderful.
Behaviour is very important.
It is, and it's like, I guess if you behave correctly, everything else sort of falls into line.
Yeah.
So it's really like... And the same thing with raising your kids from everything we've talked about. If you are behaving properly, everything's easier, or all the systems work that we've been talking about. So, yeah, that's what I've got.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Very practical points
Fantastic.
there. That was wonderful.
You're next, Ellie.
Start from last night when we talked with Jason on the kitchen. Jason said, Yahusha telling me you have a problem with yourself. And I just start thinking, is it true? I thought it's no. I thinking like that to Jason. But I think yes. I try to confirm myself, yes, yes. But I doesn't know which part. Everything I thinking is okay. Like Victoria and Emmy said, what's happened with them. I thought I'm the worst one because I feel my life like not worthy. It's that not become good example to the children or to people or to my husband, not respect him, and I feel so upset in my heart, and I doesn't know how to work around, and Jason waiting me until I finish my job, and he talked with me in the bedroom and said, okay, when you start you upset with yourself, maybe long time ago when it start happening, when I have something in bitterness under someone, and then I
When
say
they're
yes.
angry or at the person, you wanted to shoot them.
Yeah, so I so angry with him because he's my ex-fiance. He's just using me and use my mom money and use everything what we have, and he just stole everything. So I so angry what he behavior like that towards us, to my family, and treat me is not nice. So I'm so angry, and I'm decided to change my life, to not become a quiet person anymore. So after that I'm changed, and I'm happy I meet Jason. But for Jason, he got crushed me. I crushed him because I don't want get someone telling me what to do. So he just humble himself for me, and for 10 years he's suffering for me. And then one time at night time he's telling me about how Yahusha not happy with my behavior, because the behavior is mean worship to Yahusha. So I'm not worship Yahusha properly with my behavior. So he upset. And Yahusha talked to Jason because Yahusha can't talk with me. I'm too angry. I too having a bitterness and stronghold, doesn't want change. And then I feel so upset and disappointed. Just can't talk anything. I just help. I just ask help to Yahusha. I don't know. When I start, just help me. I can't do anything. And Jason said, talk to Yahusha, ask forgiveness. So I come to Yahusha. I just talk to Yahusha. I just waiting. Where's Yahusha? I can't hear his voice. And Jason said, just talk. If you can hear his voice, just talk, and Yahusha will be relieve you from the pain, from your angry, because I'm too angry all the time. I feel pathetic having life like this. And couple days I following the teaching, the lesson with you guys, and I feel like so disappointed in my life. It's not worth it. It's so upsetting. So since I talk to you, I feel relief and feel peace. Yeah, that's all.
It's wonderful.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, it's really true what you said, that obedience is worship. So, and that's your behaviour. Obedience is worship, and that's your behaviour. If you're obedient, if you're not obedient, well, you know what's going to happen, don't you? So when we look at the Hebrews, we saw that it tells us that Yahusha was here on earth, and then he went up to heaven, and it tells you where he sat and what went on from there, right? And that there was a false worship and there was a real worship, and that's why he came and he fixed the covenant and got rid of the Levitical priesthood and all that, and now we're in the Melchizedek priesthood. And it was all about a tent, which was a shadow of things to come, this tent. Right? Remember they had the tent in the wilderness, and Yahusha came and sat in the middle of the tent, remember? In the Holy of Holies. And that was on the Ark of the Covenant. Covenant. Where's the covenant written now? In our
hearts.
So where's the seat?
In our hearts.
See that? So this is what he said, your body is now the tabernacle, the tent. And he's going to come and dwell in us. And so the old tent, the tabernacle, if you don't understand this, you should go and read it in Leviticus and stuff. There's a whole lot of stuff there about it. And it tells you all the things you had to do to worship, how you had to behave. Everything right throughout the scripture is behaviour, how people behave. Every story is about behaviour. Everything. It all centres in on behaviour. There's only one behaviour, and that's
Love.
kindness. If someone isn't being kind to you straight away, if they're being sneaky or whatever, straight away you put on your protection. You know straight away what you're dealing with. Because you've got to watch out, especially while you're trading. Now, Yahusha, you know where he says he flogs you and all that sort of stuff. He's going to chastise you, he's going to rebuke you, and he's going to flog you. He's going to train us, as you've all said. But he trains us from within, because the new covenant is written on our... So he's in us. And this is the reality we have to need to understand, that he's inside. We are his. We gave our life to him. He paid the price, and he bought us back. So we are not our own. We can't go out in the world and do what we want and say what we want. And you find that many NATSARIM are doing that because they do not understand what's going on within. They don't know the right behaviour. There's only one behaviour, and that's kindness. And it's not hard to do. It's a simple thing. Pardon me. Sometimes it's hard, and he puts us to the test. He says in where is it? Yeah. Devarim 8:2. Can you all get that? Devarim. And it says, and you shall remember that Yahuwah your Elohim led you all the way these 40 years in the wilderness to
Humble you.
What else?
Prove you.
To know
What is in your heart.
whether you guard his
Commands or not.
So that's what he did to them in the wilderness. And that's what he's doing to us. So as soon as we get immersed and we get the Ruach in us, then he's going to start teaching us, because we're his. And he wants us to represent the new Jerusalem, the new covenant. He wants us to represent him, and he's actually in us. Now, as you said, Amy, and you said, how bad would it be for him to cast you away as a son because you wouldn't take the discipline? Now you understand now, by this, what you've put yourself through. Who have you been fighting?
Yahusha,
Because you wanted your own.
my way.
And this is what you have to learn. Once you read Torah and you start living a behaviour, your behaviour is worship. And if you're not kind, all you lovely NATSARIM people out there, it's very easy to see if you're not being kind, the way you answer people on the computer, the things that you think you can get away with, you have to look and see, is this Yahusha? The angers you put out at everyone, that's not the right. You lose consciousness if you're angry. And so much of this is going on. So we need to set a precedent right throughout the NATSARIM realm that if you're not being kind, it's got to be the wrong spirit. So you have someone like Lou White who's in the Word, he's drenched in the Word, he has a gift, Yahusha has put a gift into him, and he's interpreting Scripture, and he's interpreting so much to give us a decent life. Now we have to recognise that that man is anointed by Yahusha, and Yahusha's flowing through him. If we don't recognise this, we have to be very wrong. It's a bad spirit using us. So the brothers and sisters are not to be put down, not to go against, not to say bad things about each other. And that's what's going on in the NATSARIM realm, brothers and sisters. People take liberty and licence to do and say what they want. Now, if anyone's doing and saying what they want, that's a behaviour. And it's very easy to see that's not what? Kindness. We need to be kind to one another. Now, when Lou White writes something that's given to him from Yahusha, it's for all of us, not just him. And he's not trying to cause trouble or set himself up. He's just following what the Spirit does, as you should be being trained in your lifestyle, in your life, wherever you are. Yahusha will let you know inside whether he likes what you're doing or not. And he'll let you know. And it's a very personal experience, as Victoria said. It's a very personal experience. And each other does different things. We're all not doing the same things because he has many ways of presenting himself. But he's always the same yesterday, today and forever. And this is what we all need to adopt. This is a system. We come in to Israel, and then there's a certain behaviour expected of us. And that's kindness to one another. We don't say bad things about anyone, about Christians or whatever. We don't say anything bad. That's not what it's about. It's about our worship. Obedience to this is your worship. And you can worship right and you can worship wrong. As you look around the world, you can see so many people are not worshipping the right way. There were only 2 people left from those 40 years in the wilderness. Only 2 people left, Caleb and Joshua. And Joshua led them into the promised land. Moshe didn't even go. And he was the big leader. But he wasn't allowed to go. So only 2 made it. So it shows you that you have to pass the test, otherwise you won't get there. And he's the same yesterday, today and forever. His requirement is slowly, as you can, as you read, as you practice behaviour, to give over yourself completely to Yahusha. So he fills you and floods you, and you're manifesting his presence on earth, like he did when he came here in his own tent of human flesh. He wants to manifest himself through many tents on this earth. And that's the system he's designed. And we are the ones that have to give in and go his way. If you're not prepared, you're just going to go to your death.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You're just going to go to destruction. You've come in, you've been immersed. If you don't take this seriously and go all the way, how many people were just the ground opened up and swallowed them? On television this afternoon, we saw a sinkhole just open in Brazil and houses and everything went into it. The ground just opened and swallowed them up. You know what sort of worship they're doing there? You know what sort of worship's going on all around the world? You can see all the disasters. He is not happy. He's letting us know through whatever way he wants. So it's very serious, brothers and sisters. Okay, now I think that's the plan, so you understand what's going on. Now, if you guys like to say anything more or discuss anything more, up to you.
Yeah, he definitely lets you know.
What do you want to say to us, Marky?
He definitely lets you know. The pain inside is just horrendous. You don't understand at first. You have to blame somebody at first because you don't understand why this pain is there. You just think so. It must be because of the person that you'll be having an argument with. It's their fault. It's their fault. They said that, I'm upset, it's their fault. And you don't realise it, but even afterwards you still feel that. And even if they're not in the room, you still might be feeling this pressure. There were times, fortunately not recently, but years ago, I would have to lay down. I would get a migraine. It was like one of my guitar strings just like in my head just getting tighter and tighter. And I just hated it. And that was before this understanding of the flogging came in, and we didn't understand why, what it was about.
Even though you got the understanding, did you understand it?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't.
Right up till?
Now?
Now what do you understand?
The main thing I understood tonight that affected me was that if you get angry, you go to sleep. You faint.
And what will happen to your behaviour? Who goes zip, jump in you and what?
Yeah.
You're opening that door.
Yeah.
It's all our choice. We have power over the evil.
Because it happened when I got home from work this afternoon. Because I'm getting all the cameras ready for tonight. And do you think I could find Victoria's camera anywhere? I tested it 2 nights ago, and it was sitting next to my computer. So instantly I just was furious at the children. It's like, and then I had to go all soft and, you're not in trouble, I just want to know, has any of you seen a little black camera? None of them had. And then I just, they're lying to me. And I was getting furious, it's not even my camera. And an hour or so went of this going on, and dinner happened, and I was just so angry. And I said to Yahusha, this is for your work, can you please find this damn camera? And so I go to the computer room, it's hanging down the back by the cord, because I tested it 2 nights ago, it's still hanging there. It wasn't the kids at all, it was me. So, and then I was just angry then at everything. I was just furious because the house was untidy and we got to go, and I couldn't find the dog, and you know, it's so angry. You boys better behave yourself tonight. Sort of stuff.
They weren't quiet.
Oh, so and then even driving here, just furious, and just getting it all together, you know, and saying to Amy, why can't we get the systems quicker? And her and I have been detoxing, so we've just been off our face, you know, and it's all just happening in our house right now. So
What's happening?
Trying to get the systems happening.
But what's happening?
Attack.
I mean, look what you did, how you felt about your children.
Yeah, it wasn't even.
What do you think about your hating your children?
Yeah, it was
you're
horrible.
hating your wife. What do you think about that?
Yeah, horrible.
And you say, I was. But what aren't you recognising?
Them, how they might have felt, how they would
No.
feel.
His hand in it all.
Yahusha's hand in it. I never
Yeah.
thanked him for finding the camera.
Okay, so what aren't you recognising?
Yahusha.
If you get angry, you go,
Sleep.
who comes in?
Satan. Evil spirits. Evil spirits.
So what's manifesting out of you?
Evil spirits.
Not
Yahusha.
kindness.
Kindness.
So it's not Yahusha's spirit.
Mm.
Do you realise you get invaded, Mark?
Yeah.
Do you realise that?
No.
So that's your problem. You've got to realise, I beg your pardon,
The leather on the chair.
Victor,
The leather.
furniture
Buffalo
removal
hide.
again. So you've got to understand
Yeah.
you get invaded. But you're not wrong if you don't realise.
Yeah.
This is the test.
Oh, I know this, but still, you've got to fight it. You've got to fight to behave the right way.
Well, if you don't behave the right way, what?
You won't make it. And you just feel like death.
But Yahusha's loving and he understands and he's bringing us to the place where we can over,
Come.
right? And as Victoria said and Amy said about the fruits of,
Righteousness.
what are the fruits of righteousness?
Fruit of the Spirit.
Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faith.
That's right. So they will manifest through, that's the spirit, the ruach. They will be manifesting through you instead of,
Evil spirit.
so you've anger, unconsciousness. You've got to practice that behaviour. So if it starts coming on, you can feel the pain,
Yeah.
you know, you can feel the shame, right? You were ashamed when you came in.
You're not in the game.
That's right, to make a poet. But see, we're not in a position to judge anybody or say anything bad about it. We're all the same. We all lose it. No one's perfect.
Yeah.
But we can keep working towards perfection so we don't get used.
A lot of the time you're in a habit. You resort to that because you're in a habit. I know that's happened with, that's what I've done. Just you resort to these habits of behaviour and Yahusha wants to pull us out of all them. I know that.
Yeah.
And that's his flogging.
Well, I felt exactly like Victoria just said, brothers and sisters, Mary Nancy. I felt exactly like that. But then Yahusha said to me, what excuse are you making? He wouldn't let me get away with anything. So I'm telling you guys, if you're not willing to go through this, you're just going to suffer. You're just going to go to destruction. We're called in to go all the way. It's not like coming and trying pot or something like that. It's a lifestyle you choose to live. It's called obedience to the Torah. It's up to us to be obedient. If we're not, we're going to get what?
Flogged.
Flogged,
Chastised.
chastised,
Rebuked.
rebuked, to get us into, to train us, to get us into order, so that we can be, which is our,
Worship.
that's what worship, it's not all the singing, hallelujah, that's not worship, it's a daily thing. So what do you think about the tents, brothers and sisters? The tent.
It's fascinating.
Isn't
All
it?
the little tents around that can be Yahusha's
Yeah.
dwelling in and he wants to use
Yeah.
his way, not
Yeah.
our way. Like
Yeah.
I wanted things like
That's right. What about those guys in the wilderness?
Oh, and it
They're
was
all
so
in
strict.
tents.
It was so strict.
that.
Well, it was strict. It
Well,
was.
how they had to build it, I mean.
Yeah,
So
but
strict.
that's what they wanted. They wanted a Levitical priesthood, Louis priesthood. They could see what the world was having, and they told Yahusha what they wanted. So he gave them that, so they could have something similar to the world. But those people in 40 years old,
Died.
he got rid of them. He kept their children, kept them in the wilderness. Their clothes didn't wear out, nothing. But he got rid of the ones that were getting in his way, that would not give over to him. And so all those people went in there. You know, they went into the promised land and they were obedient for a while. And then we have the history of what happened. Yeah? So we can see what Yahusha said, what he's gone up, that was all a shadow of the priesthood, wasn't it? And he didn't like the Louis priesthood. That was all cancelled, wasn't it? And he renewed the old covenant, 10 commandments, the wedding vows, right? And then he came in and wrote them as we got circumcised in the water, wrote them on our hearts which were circumcised. And then he's coming in, and that was the secret that they didn't have in those days. The secret is Yahusha within. So it's him inside you giving you all the grief. When you learn to be obedient and behave, you don't get it. Life becomes wonderful. That's my experience anyway. But I really tested. I wanted to know if this is really true. I'm not just like you guys going along getting flogged. I wanted to find out if this worked or that worked, or could I get this or could I do that. I was really sneaky in there. You guys are just going along getting smashed and bashed because of what you do. Yeah, I know. Yeah. They're just not seeing, and I'm going, oh, I'm fed up with them. I just want to go and get what I have to get and get there. You know? You wouldn't listen because you all knew better. And I guess that's what we grow up with. That's the self that has to die. And if you're trying to preserve yourself and not let Yahusha kill it and leave your vessel and let him fill yourself with him, that's the battle that's going on. That's the choice. He did it to the people in the wilderness. He wanted to see them. What's it say there? And you shall remember that Yahuwah your Elohim led you all the way these 40 years in the wilderness to humble you. That's what he's going to do to us. He's going to prove us to see if we're genuine about the commitment, to know what is in your heart, whether you guard his commands or not. That's what he's inside us doing, is to see if we're full of or we're willing to go all the way. So that's what's going on inside all of us. And it's useless to judge anybody else and try to pull them in and blame them, bounce it around. It's going to go nowhere. We just have to look at us, you know, and see what he wants from us. You can feel. Can you feel, Amy? You feel, Mark? You feel, Jace? You?
Definitely.
I can. We can all feel whether he doesn't like what we're doing and saying, or he does.
Yeah.
But what a wonderful secret to know that he did all that and made the tabernacle as a tent, and they all had to get around and do all the things. They had to cut up the bulls and everything because they wanted it that way, and he let them slave, because they were in a mindset from Egypt, and they came out and had to get them into a NATSARIM mindset, a mindset of Israel, a mindset that he wants people to be, what he created us for, to bring us back to that. And so he's been trying, and that was all just a shadow of what he was going to do. The real circumcision is the heart, and he writes the laws on our heart, the 10 Commandments, which is our wedding vows. He writes them there, and then he comes and lives in us, and he's going to change our minds. So, you know, it's no good even judging anyone else. Just look at yourself and win. Win the race. So this is the system that he has for
everyone.
Behaviour. The subject tonight is behaviour. So the right behaviour is
Kindness.
the wrong behaviour is
Sleepiness.
anger. If you go anger, you'll go
Conscious.
and be in
Trouble.
invaded, and be used. And when it's over and done with, how dirty and unclean does it feel?
Disgusting.
And so you say, Yahusha says, well, you let him in and he knocked you about. That's how he is. That's not how I am. You push me aside and let him in, he's going to just use you and make you feel foul.
Yeah.
But I love you. I want you to know this truth. I'm here with you. I will never leave you or forsake you.
That's a beauty.
Unless you turn around and throw me out. Yeah? Now you guys want to say anything? Did you all know this?
No.
No.
Did you know this, brothers and sisters? Have you got something you want to share with the brothers and sisters out there about this?
I just wanted to say something little,
Yeah.
and it's just like understanding the Hebrews 12, that like the flogging, just because before I didn't have Yahusha, I was just unruly, and so having my father there, Yahusha there, he keeps me in line, yeah, and so then I've built that relationship up with him. So if I didn't know about the Hebrews, I wouldn't know what was going on. About the flogging and the chastising, wouldn't know what was going on. So I know that he's there all the time. We're in this, we're working it out together. You're getting there in this race. And so that's why this scripture is so important, to me.
But isn't it amazing how it talks about what Yahusha came down to do, where he is now, and then he comes down in his spirit into our tent.
Yeah.
And then he talks about what he's going to do in our tent. But it doesn't seem to go, this scripture in Hebrews 12 doesn't seem to go with the rest of it, does it? No. The flogging and all, but it does.
Yeah.
And it's up to us to discover this, brothers and sisters, for ourselves. What, Amy, what are you thinking?
It's wonderful.
I know you look really happy. What?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah. And when someone's getting flogged, what should you do?
Just be kind.
Yeah. That's the clever way. And sometimes you don't feel like it.
No.
But if you don't, you'll get invaded.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all a choice, and it's ours.
Yeah.
And he's not pushy with us. But the evil's very pushy.
Yeah.
That's the difference. You can see the difference.
Yeah.
And so, brothers and sisters, we don't need to. It's all right. He's just filling the water up in the pan. We don't need to, judge one another. Everyone's going through this, and we're all the same. And Yahusha loves us all, and he's bringing all of us to that place. The best thing we can do is prayer. Pray for them. Prayer is just communicating openly with Yahusha in your heart. You can sit at the table like I am now, here with you, just saying he loves you so much. He wants you to take on these understandings, put them to practice. He's made it easy for you, and take it into your life. And you'll be so happy because you're not alone. You know that alone feeling, that emptiness? Once you get through the training and you understand Yahusha, which I'm sure you will better now, you can feel what he wants from you. And if you're obedient to it, and don't take on mindsets that you think, I should do this, I should do that, and if something goes wrong, straight away, Yahusha's not happy with it. He's not happy with what you're doing. So stop, pull yourself out, and go on with your normal duties of life. That's your worship. While you're in the kitchen, ladies, while you're hanging out in the washing, while you're digging the ditch and fixing the garden, guys, fixing the car. It's all in Yahusha, and you can worship him with your behaviour of kindness. We love you all, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for listening to us. We hope this works for you all. Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Today. Rise up, NATSARIM around the world. Take arms, make the choice to love each other. Stand strong in armor to extend.